So women in Afghanistan are proving their mettle, but what about the Taliban? What about their credentials as the new rulers of Afghanistan? It sounds wrong just saying it, but that's the new reality. Capturing power by force is one thing. Governing peacefully or governing at all is quite another. Think back to the Taliban's first regime from 1996 to 2001. Hardly qualifies as a government. There was lawlessness, economic ruin and diplomatic isolation. But the Taliban did not mind because the people were scared into submission. They ruled by force, not popular will. This time, things are different. Afghans have tasted a better life, so pretending to be a government will not work. The Taliban will have to show results. The question is, do they have the means? At the outset, let me tell you this, the Afghan economy is in a really bad shape. 47.3% of the population lives in poverty. That's almost half the population. More than 4 million people have been displaced by the war already, and around 43% of the GDP is foreign aid. You take that out, Afghanistan will collapse. This is the Taliban's big worry. For a terror group, they're mega rich. But to run a country, they will need more money. Where will these funds come from? Most international donors are shutting the tap. Germany, for instance, has suspended its proposed development aid. That's $500 million gone. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is denying Taliban access to Afghan reserves. That's another $440 million gone. The United States has frozen assets of the Afghan Central Bank. That's a whopping $9.5 billion gone. It's really a rude surprise for the Taliban. They captured the central bank this week. Its total assets are worth $10 billion. Guess how much was inside the vaults? Just 160 million. The rest are with the Federal Reserve in the US or invested in US bond and securities. So the Taliban have no foreign aid and meager reserves. In other words, no money to run a country. The Taliban are notorious for taxing everything under the sun. But one problem now, Afghans don't have the money to pay taxes. So what do? Sweet talk, the West. Make promises of equality and freedom. Why do you think the Taliban are holding press conference? Why do you think they're talking to female journalists? It's propaganda. And the sad part is that some countries are falling for it. Europe is talking about engaging with the Taliban. America is waiting and watching. Do you think the Taliban care about diplomatic recognition? Sure, it would be good news, but their real prize is foreign aid. That's what they want, money for government and money for corruption. Western countries are sending out feelers to the Taliban. Some military leaders say the Taliban have changed. Like this British general, Sir Nick Carter. He isn't just any general, he is the head of the British Army, and this is how he describes the Taliban.
As President Karzai said to me only yesterday, they're country boys. And how country boys may behave, given that they behave according to their local culture, what we call Pashtun Wali, and the code of honour that goes with it, remains to be seen. But my take is, let's give them the space at the moment to see how they're going to govern. And it may well be that they've seen how Afghanistan has changed over the last 20 years.
Give them the space, country boys with honour. This is not benefit of the doubt. This is a complete embrace of the Taliban. On British social media, people are calling this general a Taliban apologist. Looking at his comments, you can understand why. He says the Taliban are keeping Kabul, quote unquote, safe and calm. The same Taliban, by the way, that killed 500 British soldiers in Afghanistan. Over in the US, generals are hiding behind intelligence failure. This is what Joint Chief of Staff Mark Milley had to say.
The time frame of a rapid collapse that was widely estimated and ranged from weeks to months and even years following our departure. There was nothing that I or anyone else saw that indicated a collapse of this army and this government in 11 days.
These are the men who unleashed war on Afghanistan. One of them says maybe the Taliban have changed. The other says no one could have foreseen this. But the fact is everyone predicted this. In newsrooms, in classrooms, on the streets of Kabul, everyone knew Afghanistan would fall, except the mighty CIA and their top-notch intelligence. The last hope is foreign aid. The Taliban cannot hope to rule Afghanistan without money, without foreign money. The Question is, can the international community leverage it? Make the Taliban keep their promises at least? It's certainly possible, but that's assuming that the Taliban care about the Afghan people in the first place. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.